I mean, I invested a lot of myself in making this comeback happen with him, and he was so happy and he was so amazing the final week. At Wednesday night at 12:30 a.m. when we all left Staples Center, he gave me a hug and whispered into my ear, "Now I know I can do this." He was that engaged and that incredible. And then the next day I was at the dry cleaners in the morning dropping some stuff off, and I was going to go normal day and go down to Staples early to start working some business stuff with the other producers and with his director Kenny Ortega. And I got a call that you have to get to the house from Frank DeLeo, who's serving as his manager. And Frank DeLeo called me and said, "I can't get there first, you got to get there, you're closer. There's something wrong." They called the paramedics and he's not breathing. So I jumped in the car. I was with an associate of mine and zoomed up to the house. And as I was approaching the house that we were renting for Michael in Holmby Hills, which is part of Beverly Hills, okay, the ambulance was just coming out of the gates with the two Escalades that are Michael's private security detail, and his children were behind the ambulance. So I just U-turned around and got behind them, and we zoomed straight to UCLA Medical Center, to Ronald Reagan Building, where the Saperstein emergency room at UCLA.
What happened?
They brought him in on a stretcher, and they put him into the emergency room. I was sitting in a chair right outside the actual room, the operating room, and there was tons of activity, and they were trying to resuscitate him and save him, and working really hard. The doctors, nurses, everybody.
How long did it take?
I sat there with Frank DeLeo eventually arrived, so it was the two of us and four of his security detail, and it seemed like an eternity when I was sitting there. But it took about an hour and a half before the nurse came out and told Frank and I that there was no hope.
What was going through your mind while you were waiting?
Just shock. I mean, having been with him the night before and watching him engaged and really kicking in to the whole thing, I guess first the kids, because they were in around the corner in a room, and who was going to tell them? That was the first thing that hit my mind, and then the fact that we've all lost this incredible talent. And he was a very, very kind, very soft-spoken guy. He was smart, he was clever, and he was Michael Jackson. The world lost him. So.
What about this doctor? Why did you employ this doctor? It would seem such a bad reputation.
Well, first of all, okay, if you think about this logically, we as producers of the show did not want to hire a doctor in America, have to take him out of his practice and pay for that, put him up in a hotel or house and pay for his transportation, per diems, and all that, when we were playing London. I mean, I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for saying this, but we weren't doing the shows in Bangladesh. Okay, we're doing them in London. We have some of the greatest medical personnel in the world, and doctors and research and stuff like that. So we would have preferred to have doctors on call in London, which would have been very easy for us to do, than bring someone from over here. Michael insisted on hiring Dr. Murray because he told us he was his personal physician, and he told one of our general counsel, outside counsel actually, who was drawing the agreement for the doctor to do the work, that he had been Michael's personal physician for 3 years. And then Michael told me, because I took one shot at getting him to let us hire an English doctor, and he said, "You don't understand. Okay, my body is the machine that fuels this business, and I need personal care, and I want a doctor 24/7, like President Obama would have, and then this is my doctor." And
did you not realize that perhaps he wanted him because he was giving him prescription drugs that he should not have had?
To be honest with you, I wasn't that involved in this process, and no, we just knew he was a cardiologist and he's a doctor he wanted, and Michael's strong. Michael wants something. We never even thought about that, to be honest with you. It never even crossed anyone's mind. We just felt this is his personal doctor. He wants him 24/7, and the guy's willing to leave his practice for a very large sum of money, so we hired him.
The reports about Michael are that he was incredibly frail and that he could hardly get onto the stage, and he was suffering from stage fright. You saw him the night before. Can you tell us what he was really like?
Yeah, that's absolutely not true. I don't know if you saw reports, but Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk, was his personal trainer, and he refutes all of that, and he was working with him. We may at some point release some footage of him in rehearsal that will totally refute that. But right now, the only reason I'm doing it, I wanted to stay out of the media circus and the frenzy around this, but there's so much misinformation out there that I felt compelled to grant this interview to you.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. Just another couple of questions. I know you're incredibly busy. What about the kids? What's going to happen to the kids?
Well, the kids right now are at the Jackson family home in Encino on Havenhurst Drive, and they, you know, when we told them that the father had passed away, okay, that's something I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. Actually, it was Dr. Murray, a social worker from UCLA Hospital, and Frank DeLeo. I stood at the doorway when they went in, and they told them, and just the look of fear in their faces, and it was hard. You know, I'll think about that the rest of my life. But they seem to be doing really well now. In fact, one of the security guards told me that the kids said to him later that afternoon when they were back in Havenhurst, said to him, "What's going to happen to you guys now?" Which was, I couldn't believe that. How, you know, what an adult, you know, thing to say. So.
What about Catherine? You know, the natural order of things is that your child doesn't die before you. She was with him every day while he was in court. She was with him, reassuring him the whole time. How do you think she'll shape up?
You know, I was there also when she was told. I was standing at the doorway when the same group of people went in to tell her. And you know, she obviously, the reaction was, you know, what a mother's reaction would be, disbelief and stuff like that, but she pulled herself together, and as the matriarch of that family, okay, and it's a very diverse family, it's a matriarch, she was strong and impressive, and I actually spoke to her last night and told her that I was beyond impressed about how strong and how together she kept everybody, right to the point where she was just out shopping in a Target, buying toys for the kids. The kids, there are a lot of nieces and nephews and stuff like that, so there's a kind of normalcy I hear for them at the house. I haven't been there yet. That sounds very healthy.
Did she tell you about funeral arrangements?
No, there's a process. We've offered to help with the, you know, with the funeral arrangements. Obviously, we have a lot of staff we could throw at it for them, and in terms of location and stuff like that and timing. The family has not made a decision yet. I should hear about that decision sometime later today.
But public, some aspect of public.
They want the public to be able to share in their grief and their love of their son, and brother. So yeah, there'll be some public aspect to it. I don't know if it's going to be a private funeral and a public. I'm not sure what the final results are going to be. And
a final thought about commemorative concerts. Will you be involved with that? And could the other Jacksons reform in order to the legacy of their brother's name to continue?
Well, it's funny. Kenny Ortega threw a dinner for the cast and crew, the musicians, the dancers, and these are the best in the world. This show was beyond anything, and the technology and the size of the show, and you know, it was Michael Jackson. It was bigger than anything else could ever have been, and beautiful and amazing. He was amazing in it. Okay, Kenny and I have discussed this. Okay, at some point the world needs to see this production, and it would be, and I would imagine if we could do it, it would be done as a tribute, you know, with the family, with the brothers performing, and some of the sisters and stuff like that, but also other stars who love Michael and were influenced by him. But the world needs to see this production, and it's done. We have it. We have it in a vault, the intellectual property content. We have the sets. We have everything, the costumes. It would have been, which is the tragedy here, one of the most amazing arena shows ever. You know, and so yeah, at some point we'd like the world to see that, and it's really, you know, we're discussing that with the family, and you know, obviously the sooner the better.
But you have that on tape, at least with Michael for now as the rehearsal.
Yes.
But for now, you're dealing with the loss of your friend.
Yes.
We'll let you get on. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We appreciate your time.